So, why aren't there more men in the field of ECE or those who identify as male in the field of ECE? There's several things that do come up in the readings. The first one, and this is a worldwide phenomena, is the low pay often associated with the field. And we do know that that is changing and has changed in the Ontario context with wage enhancements. But still, that's something that can act as a deterrent, especially if one prescribes to the idea that they need to provide for their family, and this might not be a career for that. But also keeping in mind that family structures are changing, and we've kind of have moved past, in a lot of cases, this view of the male as the sole breadwinner for the family. So the pay component is something that is very much in flux at this point. The status of the profession is something else that comes up in the research, and that is in relation to childcare being undervalued by so long by society in terms of it being viewed as not really an important or professional profession. But that has changed quite a bit, and that could be something that act as a barrier that a male who might be thinking of pursuing this career often gets resistance from either a family member or a friend or a group of friends. And that's something that I can totally relate to, because I know when I was first thinking of becoming an ECE, one of my family members was questioning, why? Are you sure you want to do that? So that can be a barrier before you even enter the program. And speaking of the field of ECE and gender, in general, the gender component is could be a strong barrier, because it is a highly gendered occupation, and 3% here in Canada of the workforce is male. Here in Ontario, it's even lower than that in terms of registered ECEs, where the College of Early Childhood Educators put out the 2% statistic for male members in the college. So the other piece that comes up a lot in literature is this idea of negative stereotypes attached with men who want to work with young children. So that is the perception that there's something wrong with these men. They need to be observed. We should be suspicious of them. So that's a massive barrier for men who are wanting to choose this profession, especially if they're getting questioned by people why they're doing this. And then there's these societal kind of stereotypes out there that, there might be something wrong with this person. So those are some of the key deterrents for men in the field of early childhood education. In terms of the benefits of male early childhood educators, research on this topic is a bit mixed at this point, primarily due to there being not a lot of it conducted. There are 4 areas that have come up in the research. The first being in terms of boys, the benefits for boys in terms of their development. And there was this idea that boys are being underserved in our schools because it's a predominantly female environment. But the research looking into that is saying that no, that's not the case. The gender of the teacher really doesn't have an impact on the educational outcomes of the child. The next area is the type of interactions. There's been this thought that male educators spend more time with kind of physical, active play, gross motor development. But once again, the research on this is not conclusive, and it's pointing towards the gender of the teacher, their identity, their expression, their sexuality, their every component of their identity doesn't really have an impact. It's the interactions that they actually have with the children, and as long as those are responsive, inclusive, the gender of the teacher really doesn't have an impact on the child. It's about the interactions. The next area that we've looked at, or not me, it's been conducted by others, is the idea of role modeling, that young children will benefit from having positive male role models, especially for those young children who might not have a father at home. Having a positive male role model will be beneficial. Research is mixed on this as well, partially because there's just been not enough. And there's also the idea that having a nurturing male in the child's life will kind of help break their stereotypes about men having to be, men can't take on these nurturing roles. And if children see this happening, they'll kind of change their opinions about what type of roles I can take on myself as a child. I can be caring, I can be nurturing, and that's okay. And then the last piece, which has shown some evidence in the research, is this idea of social adaptation, that children will demonstrate fewer internalizing behaviors, and that's anxiety, worry, stress, and those types of behaviors if there's a gender diverse workforce. So this is just kind of at the initial stage. It's only been one study that I've come across, but the results look positive that having a gender diverse workforce does have benefits for the children, especially in those social, psychological realms. So that's what's out there right now, and hopefully more will come out.